Hey guys, what's up? Power of Boxing. Want to talk about Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez. And what my thoughts on the fight, UFC 205. You guys know for guys of you who know my channel, I'm more of a boxing expert. I'm not an expert on UFC. I just watch the big fights. I do follow it, but I don't follow every one of those the up and coming guys. I'm not watching I'm just watching the big fights and I'm following the news. So I didn't really know much about Eddie Alvarez. I picked Conor. I didn't know who was gonna win, but I know Conor, and he was proven at 145. He was proven at 170 with Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz. Um, so he was proven at the higher weight class, and he's pretty big. So that was a factor going into the fight. I know he's good, and he's not all talk, and he's finally proven himself, and he showed it. He made Alvarez look like nothing. Alvarez wasn't on his level. It wasn't competitive at all. That's what was kind of boring about the fight. It wasn't competitive at all. Alvarez did nothing in the fight. He just got outclassed, got TKO'd. What was the second round, I think? And I think Conor McGregor's was too big for him. He looked way bigger, and his reach was way too much. Every time, Alvarez would have to really rush in and lunge in, and he still wouldn't even meet the target. McGregor would be just mentally one step. His counters, he would just counter over top of Alvarez's punches. So even when Eddie Alvarez, like I said, would rush in and lunge in very quickly, uh, McGregor's too sharp and reacts too quickly, and it was just counter him because his reach is just too much. I think it was like a 5-inch reach or something like that. So it was just, in my opinion, Conor was just on another level, and he's just too big for Eddie Alvarez. He's too big for one. He was too big for 145, and that's why he beat Aldo so easily and all the other guys. And at 155, he's still really big, and it's going to be hard for someone to beat him at 155. But at 170, on the other hand, against those guys, I think Conor would get beat. We've seen Diaz beat him, and the second fight was very close. Could have went either way. Conor did land more shots though, but he got hurt throughout the second fight as well. So I think still 155 and 145, the guy's just too big and too skilled for those guys. And yeah, Conor must walk around at probably 175, 180 because the guy's huge. When he weighed in for the Diaz fight, he weighed the same as Diaz. He weighed 168 or something in the weigh-in. But Conor's really big for 155, and that was one of the determining factors. Alvarez just wasn't big enough. His reach wasn't good enough, and that's what led to the TKO. He had to lunge in, rush in, and he would just get countered. And Conor's got power, and accuracy is what sets what makes him get the knockouts and the knockdowns, and especially this fight. Just the accuracy. You hit a guy with 4-ounce gloves, he's gonna go down. So really, it wasn't exciting because it wasn't competitive. Alvarez tried his best. I can't blame Alvarez. He tried his best. Just Conor was too big. The reach was too much, and the size, like I said, it was just on it. Conor's on a different level, and obviously, I'd like to see Conor lose. I don't like the cocky guys as much, like the guys who he does back it up though, and he did show respect to Alvarez after the fight. He did go up to him, he approached him after he won, and he said, I don't know what he said, but kind gestures. So, and he did call him a warrior in the interview. So, he was respectful. So that makes me like him a little bit, but I can see why people don't like him. Obviously, with after the fight, he became the first champion in UFC to have the first two weight division champ in the UFC ever. So that's an accomplishment. But they didn't have the second belt ready for him after the fight. So he was swearing and yelling at, like jokingly though, where his second belt was in the post-fight interview. Um, but I think if Conor can keep this up, he could possibly be considered the best UFC fighter in history if he keeps this up, and he could surpass Anderson Silva. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you thought about the fight. Do you agree with him? With me, Conor was just too big for him. The reach was too much for Eddie Alvarez, just like it was for Aldo. Let me know. Power of boxing, power.